Join us, Alex
and Colleen,
self-proclaimed fake it till you make it experts, as we navigate the highs and lows of being a woman and how the pressure and overwhelm of trying to do it all often leads to feeling like an imposter in our own lives.
In today's episode, we welcome Ruvi Mugara, who recently endured the traumatic loss of her mother. Ruvi shares candidly about the profound and vulnerable impact that grief has on our sense of self.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Colleen.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing okay. The weather is getting a little better.
Thank goodness.
So we're seeing sun-ish coming out. It's still cold out, but it will help my mood. Although something did help my mood last couple weeks ago. My son got engaged.
Woo! So exciting.
Yay! Isn't that wonderful? So I am dealing with some big, exciting, life-changing moments. And, you know, I'm here for it. I'm here for it all. It brings up all kinds of feelings of my own marriage, and I'm thinking of my own wedding, and as we're having conversations about their plans and stuff like that. Anyway, it's exciting. What's going on with you? What's your biggest life-changing moment?
Probably when I found out I was pregnant unexpectedly.
Yes.
And single.
That's
another episode, though.
we haven't had an episode about that, and we both
my
have
origin
that in
story
common.
or my parenting origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was pretty life-changing. At the time, I wasn't sure how it would change my life or if it would be for the better or worse, but it certainly has been for the better. So.
Well, we have somebody with us today who has just recently had a massive life-changing moment. Ruvi is with us, and Ruvi lost her mother 3 months ago.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll get into talking about that in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, Ruvi,
yes,
my
Colleen.
friend.
Yes, Colleen.
Why don't you give our audience a little introduction of who you are?
Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm Ruvi, and I go by Ruvi Raises Radicals on the socials. I'm a mom of 2 kids. They're both on the autism spectrum. My daughter just recently got diagnosed, actually, but she has mild autism.
This surprises me because I knew your son was autistic,
Yeah.
and I didn't. You're saying this. I'm hearing it for the first time.
Yeah,
Your daughter as well.
Yeah,
wow.
She just got diagnosed before the big life-changing moment. So we were trying to work through that. And yeah, so she has mild autism, mostly around social anxiety. Like she just really can't deal with reading people's cues, I guess. She doesn't know how to respond. So it's a bit of Asperger's syndrome we see in her. But my son, very much on, like, he is mid to severe autism. So yeah, that's my life. I'm a full-time working mom. I work in resource conservation, and I'm raising these 2 kids, and that's just a little bit about me. I'm actually originally from Zimbabwe, but I've been a Nova Scotian since 2007, so I'm a Scotian as
You're
I
a
get.
Nova Scotian. Yeah, you're pretty hard Nova Scotian as it gets.
Never left.
Although I've never seen a Nova Scotian cook the way you cook.
My gosh.
Your meals and your part, like the family events, and wow.
Yeah. I do love to throw down in the kitchen. That's always been something that I found pleasure in, I found joy in. It's actually just changed since the life-changing event, but I've always found it super cathartic, and like I would get in the kitchen and it's just like all these ideas are pouring out, and it comes into like a meal, and I'll try all these different things, and inviting people over to try the food was always fun for me. So yeah, cooking has been a skill that I just somehow have.
What are your hobbies?
I would say hobbies include sleeping.
That's a good one.
It's a good hobby.
I'm working on my sleeping hobby.
Yeah, love me a good sleep. Reading books. I really like reading books. I wouldn't say self-help specifically, but like anything that's like meant to like elevate me into a better human being. Look at other people with a different lens. I like those kinds of books. I like any sort of like crazy sci-fi crap too, like the kid stuff, the teenager stuff I'm really into. Either I'm trying to elevate myself or I'm trying to be in another world.
Escape,
Those are like the options for me. There's no middle ground. So reading books, sleeping, and anything thrifting. Ooh, I'm a thrifter. Yeah, Alex and I bonded over that last time.
Yes.
I love me a thrift store.
Me
This
too.
is thrifted. Love things thrifted. Like what? Yes.
Yeah, I don't love. Alex finds it very comforting as well. I don't love it as much. I think though I would really like more of like the home decor, the china,
yeah.
like the thrifting, that end of it. I'm not a big thrifter of clothes, although Alex has found me some great pieces that
Oh,
will
you
convert
find
you.
the best.
Yeah.
The
We'll
best
convert you
pieces.
eventually.
you will convert. So I think we're going to dig in.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a heavier episode, I think, because we're going to talk about the ties between grief and imposter syndrome, specifically changes in our confidence and self-esteem, and honestly, in our entire being when you're in those acute grief stages. This is specifically to losing a parent, but anybody that's really close to you. So it may be a little bit different feel for the episode this time, but I think it's a really important conversation. And Ruvi and I were chatting a little bit before the episode started about it's just there's not a lot of people talking about the effects of grief on everything about your personality. So I think it's an important conversation to have, and there may be some tears. So just a little trigger warning for anyone listening: grab some Kleenex. They're probably going to be mostly from me. It'll just be a bit of a different feel, but I think it's a really important conversation to have. So let's dive in.
So let's start with Ruvi telling us, and then I'm from there going to hand over a lot of the questioning to Alex. You've got a little bit of a better grip on some of these feelings and thoughts.
I don't know if I have a
because
good
you've
grip
been
on
through
them,
it.
but
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But Ruvi, tell us, 3 months ago you lost your mom.
Yes.
She was visiting you from Zimbabwe, and so it was very sudden. And it was it around her birthday as well?
The day after.
The day after.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, you don't have to go into details, but tell us a little bit about losing your mom.
Yeah, so obviously very unexpected. My mom lived in Zimbabwe, but came here every year to help me care for my kids. Once we found out my son was diagnosed with autism, she was like, what do you need from me? Even though I live in a totally different continent, I will make my way up there. So she used to come and stick around for like 3 to 6 months at a time. So she was a big part of the kids' life. So she was here visiting, and then she was actually the day she passed was the day she was leaving. So she basically over the summer would complain here and there that her belly just wasn't sitting right. Like she would eat something and she'd be like, oh, must have been bad. Like my stomach didn't like that. And it wasn't new for us. Like we've always made jokes that my mom has a very sensitive belly. And the food here is very different to the food in Zimbabwe. So our assumption was just like the food here is not great. And we're like, yeah, that's why you constantly have a bellyache. And so it took some time for her to realize how severe her belly aches were. And so a couple days before she passed, she confided in me, telling me that like she was in a lot of physical pain. Her belly just was really painful. She hadn't used the bathroom in a couple of days. She felt really constipated. At this point, I was like, okay, do you need some medication? Do you need to go to a doctor? Her being an international immigrant and a visitor here, she was like, I'm going home in a few days. Like, I don't need to spend money in a Canadian hospital. So we just bought her all the meds. Like I rushed to Shoppers. It was like a Sunday. Rushed to Shoppers, got her all kinds of meds, Gravel, all of it. And up to now, I don't think I was in the state of she's leaving this world. Even when I was buying all these meds, I was just in a state of she's uncomfortable. And I would like her not to be uncomfortable. So I went and I bought I was telling my husband, and I was like, I bought like $60 worth of meds. They better work. Like, that's crazy. Gave her everything. She couldn't eat now. Like she was very just not herself, very lethargic. Then on Monday, which was her actual birthday, which was the 18th of November, she was turning 62. She was quite young. And she got out of bed. She took a shower. Not that she looked or seemed better, but I think she was forcing herself to celebrate her birthday with her family since she was leaving the next day. So she got up, had a shower, all of that, and then we hung out with her the whole day, had cake. I have a video of us cutting cake with her blowing out her candles, her opening her gifts. She went to bed very early. She did say, like, I'm just done. My body is done. So she went to bed at like 7. And the next day, woke up and she was gone. She had left this world so suddenly, just so devastatingly too. Like, I like to say I would have, and maybe I wouldn't make a difference, but I always say, like, if she had passed in her sleep, I would have accepted that. But I don't know if I would have. But just how she passed, how she left this world is just so sad. Because it's like she woke up, decided, okay, I have to get a plane this morning. Got ready for her shower, laid out all her clothes on this little blue couch she loved in the room she used to spend time in. Laid out all the clothes she was going to wear that day, zipped up her suitcases, her luggage, everything. Put her purse on the side, called my dad, told him I'm getting ready, and then went to the bathroom, and that was that. So just the severity of how she left this world is always going to haunt me, because it's like, could I have done something? I think that's where the imposter syndrome comes in with me. It's like, I could have done something, or I should have done something. I should have checked on, this will like always haunt me. Like, I could have gone earlier to the bathroom, but I never thought she wasn't going to come out of that bathroom.
Of course not. Yeah. And, I'm sure that she was pushing through to get, she was going to go home. She was just sort of thinking, well, I'm not feeling really great.
Yeah.
Like in her mind, I'm sure she wasn't also thinking she was nearing the end. It was, I'm not feeling well and I got to get on a plane. And there's nothing worse than getting on a plane when you feel yucky.
Yeah.
And she's thinking there's a long flight ahead of her, but she's just going to push through. And when she gets home, she'll get some rest and that's all she was thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You've been through it. And then you started sharing your story online.
Mm-hmm.
You went to Zimbabwe. You guys had one hell of a celebration.
Yes, a celebration of life. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
and you shared it online. It was so beautiful to see everybody dancing and singing and playing instruments and just loving on your mom. It was beautiful to watch.
It was huge. 780 people.
Amazing.
At the funeral. Like, we budgeted, like, caterers and stuff. We were like maybe 300 people. And then by like 2 days before the funeral, one of my uncles, who was like the organizer, came and he's like, okay, kids, so I'm thinking 500. And we were like, okay, we got to up the budget a bit more. And still on the day, 780 people showed up.
Isn't that crazy?
What a testament to her life and the impact that she had on people.
Serving up hot brews, refreshing cold drinks, lots of fresh baked goodies, and delicious lunch options. Visit the Mellow Mug in the heart of Larry Utech for dine-in, takeout, or drive-through service. Their spacious cafe offers a casual and inviting vibe that's perfect for everything from enjoying a good book, hanging with friends, or meeting a colleague. The Mellow Mug is your neighborhood spot for great coffee and delicious eats and sweets.
I had people travel. Like, not just living in Zimbabwe, from South Africa, England, people from Toronto. I have a friend who lives in Toronto who came to Zimbabwe. Just like, people came.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, wow, this woman has touched so many lives. And when you're sitting there listening to people's eulogies, you realize she wasn't just my mom.
No.
Like, she impacted all these individuals in such a profound way that they felt the need to come and honor her. And also just the shock of it. Nobody thought she was going to pass. So just the shock of it, people really just needed to be there to be like, I guess this is it.
To acknowledge it.
Yeah.
To acknowledge her. Yeah. Her life and the bigness, the vastness of her life. So you started talking about it online, and you were very open about your feelings online. And I know this is like super soon. We're 3 months. And here we are in the podcast studio having a chit chat, because I think you have shared so much of it online, but I think what you've shared was so important. Like I was watching every single one of your posts. It was so vulnerable and beautiful, and I learned so much from you. So let's dig in a little bit. So
yeah, I think I had said before, I really resonated with a lot of, especially the journal entries that you shared,
Yeah.
that were really kind of documenting every moment as it happened right after and everything that was going on. And I think that's really important because you tend to forget some of those things as you get further away from it. And I just found it, I could relate to a lot of it. It's just you're just so discombobulated.
Yeah.
Everything about you is just off.
Yeah, that's the word right there, Alex. Discombobulated. You can't explain it to anyone else.
No.
It's just the weirdest. You're like, it's almost like an out of body experience. Like you're watching everything happen, but you're not really there, but then you're there and you're trying to numb your body because you don't want to be this like sobbing lunatic as well. But then it's like I just remember like my boss even says it, like when I made the call to work to be like, oh shoot, I'm not going to go to the work today. I got to make that call. I thought I was speaking properly. She's like, no, Ruvi, I could not even make out what you were saying.
Yeah.
So it's so bizarre because I was like, I am in it. I am talking. I am saying the things I need to say. I'm not coming in today. My mom is dead. She's like, I didn't hear anything. All I heard was you screaming. And then I called your husband. So I thought I was like eloquent, but it's like out of body experience. Everything is just so,
Yeah.
it's so strange.
I think too, because you're in a little bit of shock.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I had to say that my dad was dead and had to like say it out loud was so hard.
Yeah.
Because then it feels like it's so real. I told you I was going to sob through this whole episode.
Alex is going to sob through this whole thing. Alex,
I'm
it's
4 years out,
4
so
years,
I
yeah,
shouldn't even
yeah.
be this raw.
You should.
about it, but
Yeah.
it comes and goes, and I have been in a little bit more of a heavier grief state the last few months. So anyway,
So then let me ask both of you, because you're 4 years out, you're 3 months. It's profoundly affected you to lose a parent, every aspect of your life. Do you notice that there's changes in your confidence or your professional yourself? How has it changed you?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been, you guys know me, the confident, funny, over the top person. I've lost that person. And when I try to cling on to her, I can't find her.
Can't find her. Yeah.
I can't find her. And it's so sad because I don't know who I am.
Mm. I think any time you lose a label,
Yeah.
to be labeled as a daughter, right?
Yeah.
So to lose that, I mean, it's still a daughter, but to lose a label, to have a mother and then no longer have a mother, to have a father and no longer have a father, like those are such profound moments in our lives. It would affect absolutely everything. And I think, the problem is, you take a couple of weeks off, your little grieving time or whatever you need, but it's not enough.
Never.
Because as you go through all the stages for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, however many years, your life has changed. So as you're going through all of this, you've got to figure out a new way to fit into being a mom, to fit into being a wife, a friend, a person, somebody who works, somebody who's like, so
I can say
thing.
You will find those aspects of you again.
Yeah.
I did, but everything is so heavy. Everything is so heavy, and everything is covered in a blanket of heaviness.
Yeah.
So you have moments where you feel joy, and you're happy, but then those are layered with like guilt because I feel happy, and how can I feel happy when something so horrible is happening? So it's a really confusing time. Which makes it hard to feel confident because you don't trust your emotions. Yeah. And you don't know when the hell it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks in the middle of the public. And that happened to me a lot.
Exactly.
Still happens to me.
Yeah.
Not as often. Where you just are overcome and you're like sobbing in public. And that's also difficult, especially if you're someone who doesn't like to be publicly emotional.
And the public isn't ready for it.
Yeah.
Which makes it worse, right? Like I had a breakdown in Superstore. I wasn't trying to be this crazy person in Superstore, but it happened. It was just, I remember that my mom liked a certain type of bread and I was in the bread aisle. And I just lost it.
Yeah.
And I remember just the grief being like someone threw a weighted blanket on me and I could not stand up anymore. And I just sat down.
Did you?
Yeah, in Superstore. And I like people were walking by being like, what the heck? And it was just like people are looking but also not looking because they don't want to make you uncomfortable, but then they're also uncomfortable because you've made them uncomfortable. What is going on? Who are you and why are you doing this in public? And I couldn't bring myself to collect myself for like 15 minutes. I just sat there. Like my cart was next to me, half groceries. People are trying to go around me. I could not. I just had to like let it out for like those 15 minutes. And then I got up and I continued with the groceries.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
you have to do those things. And
Yeah.
I totally relate to that because you have to. You kind of have to just stop what you're doing,
Yeah.
let it go through you, and then you can pick up and keep moving.
you
But it
find-
does. It comes on like that and you have no control over it.
Like just smacking at
It's
you.
like that.
just
It's like a little memory.
Yeah.
Something that you weren't even expecting. Something
Yeah.
that just brings something back. And it's like,
Yeah.
All of a
you're out.
sudden. Yeah. And like that morning, I was in very good spirits.
Yeah.
Like that's what's so bizarre. Like I woke up and I was like, oh, today I'm better. I
Better.
haven't felt so bad.
But
And-
why do we feel we need to be better? Like, you know
I think
what I mean?
it's societal pressures, right? Like you don't, like, that's what I mean. Like the society is not ready to really talk about grief to the extent that we need to talk about grief. It's not pretty. It's not nice. It's uncomfortable. And it's like depression almost, like how society still doesn't really understand depression.
Mm.
It's the same thing. Like we just are not ready for these hard, really hard conversations. And I think that's why I've been so open about it, because when I started journaling, it's because even though my husband experienced the same thing as me, he experienced it differently because it's not his mother,
Mhm.
right? He loved my mom. My kids loved my mom, but she's my mother. So like that whole experience, I needed to put it on paper because I couldn't have these conversations with my husband because he'll just be like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And at some point it's like, I don't want the stories. I just need to let it out. Like there's so much anger.
Mm.
And so I started journaling. And when I like talked to friends, coworkers, anyone, it's almost like I always make a joke about it. I'm that like all of a sudden I bring the mood down. Oh, Ruvi's here. Oh, hopefully she doesn't like talk about her mom, but I think she's going to talk about her mom. And they're not like being mean about it or trying to be assholes, honestly.
Mm.
It's a mood dampener. I've been like, I was at a birthday party for someone, and at some point someone just was like, how are you, Ruvi? And I was like, do you really want to know the truth? You shouldn't ask these questions
So
if you want to know the
do
truth.
people really want to know the truth? That's the other thing. Like, because, when somebody comes into a room and says, how are you doing? If you're going through some stuff,
Yeah.
what are we supposed to, when we're having a bad day, say, everything's fantastic, living the dream, da da da. Like, do people really want to know what's going on in our lives?
I don't think people really want to know. I think it's just polite to ask, right? And you're hoping you ask someone, how are you? And they're like, I'm okay. Well, I'm good. But I'm like, you want to know the truth? That's my answer now. When someone says, how are you? I'm like, do you want to know the truth? Some people will be like, of course.
Yeah.
Some people were like it makes people a little like taken aback. Like, what do you mean? Do I want to know the truth? Like, am I, like some people don't even know how to respond. They just kind of keep quiet when I say, do you want to know the truth? And I'll be like, well, I'm not okay. I don't think I'll ever be okay, but I'm present and I'm existing and I'm here. That's my answer these days. I'm here and I'm pushing through. And I think just like it's a mood dampener because the people around me will be like, oh, like, okay, we're here to party. It's a birthday party, but like Ruvi's just existing and that's not really fun. And it's not that I'm trying to make everyone be sad for me or it's just the truth.
I mean, you're trying to figure out where you fit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I say it in all honesty so that if I decide I want to leave and I don't want to talk to anyone about it, you don't feel bad. The host doesn't feel like, why did Ruvi leave? I was honest. I'm not okay. And I'm going to sit through the candle blowing and all of this and cutting of the cake, but it reminds me of the day before my mom passed, and I don't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm here because I'm expected to be here because it's a friend, right? So I'm pushing through these like normal, everyday societal aspects, but I'm not present in them. And that's what's so bizarre. Like I keep saying, like it's my entire being has shifted. And so I have this like imposter syndrome of being like in a room and being like, I shouldn't be in this room because I'm not the person who should be in this room. The person who should be in this room no longer exists. So I'm here, but I'm not really here. Even with raising my kids, I'm not the same mother. I'm more, it's so weird. And I really hate this about myself, but I'm more agitated. And I know they're on the spectrum and I know they don't understand things. And so it's really tough for me because I'm just like, I know I'm agitated. My face shows it all the time. I have major RBF all the time with the kids. And they're like, mommy, mommy. And I'm just like, sometimes they call me like 5 times and I didn't hear them. Like I'm not here.
Well, because you've got something big on your brain,
Yeah.
right? It's all consuming.
Mm-hmm.
It's also exhausting to exist all day long.
Exactly.
And
The minute you wake up, it's exhausting.
by the end of the day, you just don't have anything left. Because you're going through the motions, you're doing your job, you're, packing the lunches, you're doing all the things you need to do, while basically wearing like a mental weighted vest.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the day, you've got nothing left. So I'm not surprised about the agitation. I also experienced that. I was already kind of an agitated person, so I'm not sure where the grief played into that. But I totally get that feeling of just everything is exhausting because you're just carrying around so much extra weight while you're trying to go through the motions.
Yeah.
And then people are looking at you with like pity, which is also really, I found very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're just not in the mood to have those conversations, but people are asking you about it and those kind of things. So there's just a lot of.
I think the worst, Alex, for me was when people asked, and I completely understand that my mom passed in a country that she's not from. So I felt like I owed an explanation to family members back home, but it's when people kept asking, like I have to say the same story over and over and over again. And at some point I just said, can someone be like Ruvi's MC? Like just be the person who speaks on behalf of Ruvi and says, when they come and tap me on the shoulder and they say, I'm so sorry about your mom. So can you tell us what happened? Was she sick? Can someone just speak up and be like, I'll tell you the story. She's done telling the story. Because it just was like, I kept repeating it. And I'm still in the state of shock of being like, this can't be real. And then having to repeat it over and over and over again. And then up to now, 3 months later, someone who hasn't seen me in a while. Oh my gosh, Ruvi, I'm so sorry. It's that pity. It's like, why is it there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the ways to combat imposter syndrome is to actually listen to how awesome the people in your life think you are. If you're looking for the perfect gift for a loved one, where you can tell them all of the things that make them special, visit my Drawbridge Creative Etsy shop and purchase a Things We Love About You custom poster. With several styles to choose from, it's a fabulous gift for any milestone birthday, anniversary, retirement, or just because.
I don't know, as a as a human being, I never know when I run into somebody who's just lost somebody, if I'm saying the right thing, if I'm saying the wrong thing. Should I say anything? Should I just, if you run into somebody in the supermarket, should I just pick out my apples and turn the other way and not even acknowledge them because God love them, they're out and they're in the supermarket and maybe they don't want to see me today. So I don't think any of us know.
Everybody's uncomfortable with grief.
Right.
Everybody is uncomfortable with grief. They don't know how to address people. And I'm the same. Like I never really know where to insert myself. And even when you were posting really publicly about it, I just sort of tried to be like, send you hearts or like your posts. So you knew that I was resonating with them. But it can be really hard when people want you to engage with it so much. But at the same time, you want people to know that they are thinking about you or feel for you. But what was really helpful for me is when people told me nice things about my dad.
Mm.
Like I much more preferred that. Now I didn't have as much of a traumatic situation. So I didn't have, he was sick and everyone knew he was sick.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a lot of like telling the story, and I can't imagine how traumatic that must have been and continues to be for you. So there's another layer on it for you, whereas people are just curious about what happened, and maybe curious is the wrong word for this, and then it's your responsibility to have to relive it over and over and over again, which is really awful. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that when I think about it all, like what I would want from people, and what I think I'm willing to give to other people, who are also experiencing grief, it's just being present. I think you don't have to say anything, you don't have to do anything. I felt like the week my mom passed, because we had to repatriate her body home, which means we just had to send no cremation in my culture. We have to send a full human body back home. So that's costly. It's a lot of time. It's trying to work with different shipping companies. And so working through that, we had a whole week and a half of like the unknown, of just like sitting and waiting. There's no like planned funeral yet. And people would just come to my house with so much food, which I understand. Like, you're probably like, I'm being helpful. But I got to toss this food because nobody's eating it. And now it's a whole other responsibility on top of what I'm going through. So it's a very strange thing, because I know it's like such a common practice to be like, we got to bring food. They're probably not cooking and they're probably not eating. So
but one can only have so many lasagnas in their freezer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
so
it's
many
too
fruit
much
baskets.
food.
Fruit baskets.
So many fruit
and
all
baskets.
goes
Like,
bad.
the last thing I want right now is fruit.
Exactly. It just goes bad. It's just wasteful. And I understand the culture being like, what can we do? But I think your presence is actually speaks volumes to versus like bringing me
Would
a
it help
basket
more
of food.
for somebody to come in and do your laundry? What can I do? How about I do your laundry for
things like that.
Yes.
Laundry. I actually had a friend of mine just show up at the house. She didn't even speak to me, which I really appreciate about her. She just was so taken aback. She knew my mom really well and she didn't know what to do. She took my kids out.
Yeah.
She came in, she realized the kids are not at school because it was the day my mom died. I just was so discombobulated. I didn't take them to school. And there's police and there's like so much going on. And she walked in, saw the police, saw the kids, took the kids, left the house.
Yeah.
That was like phenomenal to me. I was like, finally, my kids are not dealing with everything that's going on. And she was gone all day. And she just texted my husband and she's like, I have the kids. If you guys are looking for them, I have them. I'm going to take them to an indoor playground and then I'm going to figure out things to do all day. But let me know. So stuff like that. It's like presence and like just being helpful without like, like the food thing is just like unnecessary. It's just too much food. There's nowhere to put it. I mean, like for a week and a half, someone brought food every single day. I had the Tim Hortons coffee things, those massive ones, like 6 of them. And I was like, who's drinking this? It's not me.
That's true.
It's just so much.
I think people
We
are
had
just like, I need to do something.
Yeah.
And this is what, people just want to do something.
I
Right?
had pizza boxes for days. It was just like, and now because I have to leave the country, I got to empty my fridge. I'm not going to be around for a month. So it was just like this weird, bizarre space I was in of being like, where's this food going? I remember people would come in and be like, do you want to take this with you? Do you want to take this food with you, please?
Take this.
I'm
Here's
not
a
eating
coffee
it.
carafe.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Mm.
But I love what you said about your friend not speaking to you, because I found that really helpful too. People that were really close to me that would just like let me be
Yeah.
and not question how I responded to things and not expect anything from me and just let me be whatever I was at that time so that I could have a safe space to just be.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important to just have people who will just accept you in whatever state you are
Yeah.
at that moment, without judgment, without expectations of you to be like your old self or to, bring whatever you used to bring to the conversation, because it's just not going to happen. Not in the same way.
Yeah. And I think it's profound as a human being to figure out like, oh geez, this is the new chapter of my existence. I'm a different person. And like I said it like in one of my journal articles, like I've experienced heartbreak, a boy breaking my heart, a man breaking my heart, all that, friendship heartbreak, losing a friend. I've experienced it, but the heartbreak of a loss is so different to the point that it like you feel it in the pits of your heart. Like you're like, that's what I think they mean by heartbreak. Like it's like your heart can't take it. It's like painful.
Yeah. I
It's
know that pain.
pain.
I know that pain.
It's so painful. Like I remember the day my mom died, I was in so much physical pain in my heart, in my belly. My belly couldn't settle. Like it was so stiff. Like it was like butterflies in the worst way. And I was in so much physical pain of my like internal organs, just not responsive to what's going on. Sleep, oh my gosh, sleep is a whole different ball game after that. It's like I could not sleep that first week for sure. Like never caught a wink of sleep. But even now after the fact, when I drift off to sleep, as much as I love sleep, just before I fall asleep, that memory comes back. But your mom is dead though. As soon as I wake up, but your mom is dead. When I wake up to go pee, your mom is dead though. Like it's just like this like weird subconscious friend of mine that has to remind me every single waking moment. And just when I'm trying to relax, but she's dead though.
I don't like her. She's a bitch.
I
And
know,
You need to
I
get
hate
rid
her.
of that.
I'm
You
trying
need to
to
get
get-
rid of her.
She'll get quieter.
She'll get quieter one day.
Good God.
Yeah, she's a horrible bitch.
That's awful. Yeah.
It's like awful. Like I'm sitting on the toilet and she's like, "Don't forget, your mom is dead though." And I'm like, "Oh yeah,
yeah, thanks. Yeah.
thanks. I know.
Yeah.
I know."
But I can't imagine. Like this is not obviously I'll experience it at some point, and it is not something I want to experience. I can empathize with you. I can feel for you, but I can't understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's fair. And there's a teaching I would like to give to you, Colleen, where you say, I can't imagine. That's where I want people to imagine.
Oh, I try to imagine. Like
Yeah.
it's I've had moments where I'm like put myself in that space.
Yeah.
And I did with you when I was reading your journal entries and stuff, and I was imagining if it was my mom or if it was my dad. And I was feeling a guttural.
Yeah. I think it's important to imagine.
It was big. Like I know it's going to be bad. Like
Yeah.
It's, but until I'm actually in those shoes someday, I won't really 100% understand,
No, it helps prep us as human beings. Not that it will make you be ready, but at least if we were just more open to grief as a society and like put ourselves in other people's shoes and really thought of like, if this was to happen to me, we would as a society be more empathetic and less pity. It's not about pity. It's about empathy. It's like just being like, you know what, even I've never experienced this, I completely resonate with what you're going through because it would be awful for me.
Yeah.
Right? As for anyone, it would be awful to lose someone you love. And we all, as humans, love someone. It's just natural. So it's awful. And that's what's really been so interesting to me because prior to this, and a lot of people don't know this, I have had a miscarriage. So I experienced a miscarriage prior to my 2 kids, and I've never publicly really, I talked about it here and there on my Instagram, but never really talked about the grief of that because I was just like, people always talk about, but you hadn't met the baby though, and like, all these things. So I was like, okay, I'm going to let it go. And when my mom passed, it was like I realized that I hadn't even worked through the grief of that loss. And now I have this other loss, and they've like not intertwined into like this new Ruvi. Like now I'm this new person who's experienced loss and trauma and like just awful things. And it's like just that aspect of life. If more people just talked about it, we would have less imposter syndrome with it.
Does it bring up, so obviously a life change like this changes everything. So where does it affect with your imposter syndrome? How does it,
How do you see it in your work?
in your work? How's it?
I mean, in my work for sure.
Because do you view success the same way? Do you view all
your priorities
all
shift.
of the priorities shift? So how does it fit right now?
Right now, that's a good question. It's been something I've been really thinking about. I really enjoyed my career for so many years. And it's not that I'm not enjoying it. It's more that it sounds crazy, but I don't have time for this shit. Like, I honestly just don't. So I sit in the office and I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, everything is now just like, what is the point of it? What is the point of what we're doing right now? All these team meetings, all this team building, all this, like, what is it for? Professional development. Like, and it makes me kind of like a Grinch, and I don't like that. So I'm working through it because I'm like, I don't want to be a Grinch. I really enjoyed my career, but I'm just like, what is the point? And even like, I used to be someone who was so focused on saving for retirement. My mom retired in 2023, died in 2024. That has changed me so much. I'm like, why do we invest so much into like working so hard in our young life to save for our older lives when it's not guaranteed? Like, people, since I started talking about it so openly on Instagram, I have people who are like, my brother died at 35. I've had someone die at 42. And I'm like, that's what I mean. Like, why do we work so freaking hard in life for something that's not guaranteed?
Yeah, I think
So
about that a
now,
lot too.
yeah, it's like really important to me to like, people know this, like my coworkers, my boss, my time is my time. Like, I'm like, you need me to work after 5? I'll see if I can do that. That's usually the time I spend with the kids. Because now I'm like, no matter what, no matter how much I wanted to advance my career, it's not as important as the time I have right now. And that
your
is
priorities
important.
would really shift.
Definitely. I never used to prioritize my personal time, honestly. I was very focused on the career. Like, I had a goal. And that's not my definition of success anymore. I had a conversation with someone I'm mentoring. She's young, and I said, I was like, what's your definition of success? She says, well, obviously, specific dollar figure on my paycheck. And I was like, that's nice, but let me tell you what my definition of success has been since what I've experienced. My definition of success is if I feel joy doing specific things. If it's not bringing me joy, I'm not being successful with it. If I'm joyful, like something as simple as something that's bringing me joy right now is something as simple as we took a train with the kids the other day to Truro. That brought me joy. It's simple. It was nothing fancy, but I spent time doing something that was important to me because I know my kids love trains. And I was like, we're going to take the train. And that was that. No other plan, nothing fancy. And I think that's what like has completely shifted. It's like my values before and my values now. I was talking to my husband. I was like, we have to reevaluate our family values. I don't think what we had on there, like one of them was like, we must always be happy.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, that's not realistic.
It's not realistic. It's possible. And I can't believe I wrote that down for family values. I'm like, that's so
But you don't have the
stupid.
perspective until after. Like,
Yeah.
I was the exact same way. Everything shifted for me. My work balance shifted. The boundaries I put in place shifted. My values shifted. The time that I spend with my family is sacred.
Yeah.
Everything about it shifted. But you don't have that perspective until something profoundly difficult happens and changes the way you look at things. And I love that changing that measure of success, because I'm 100% the same.
Yeah.
I feel that very deeply.
Looking to relax and rejuvenate? Treat yourself at Bello Day Spa. Located in the heart of Bedford West, from luxurious facials and brow services to soothing massages, waxing, and perfect manis, pedis, their team has you covered. Bello Day Spa isn't just a place for pampering. Their friendly staff will help you find the perfect skincare products from their wide selection of premium lines. Ready to refresh your routine? Book your appointment today and discover why Bello Day Spa is your neighborhood go-to spot for relaxation and self-care. Bello Day Spa, your local relaxation retreat.
Have there been, what resources, what things have helped through this whole process?
I go for therapy now, so I have a counselor. That had to happen just with the trauma of everything. Like how I found my mom, like I didn't know she was gone at that point, right? So everything I did to try to resuscitate her, that memory has been like really clinging on to me, and it's very hard for me to like catch my breath sometimes when I have panic attacks. So, and I have panic attacks now, so that's new.
Aren't they horrific?
Oh, they're horrific.
Yeah.
So I I did start doing some therapy. I found a counselor. I really took my time this time. I've done therapy before and I just kind of chose someone. This time I needed someone who would not talk at me, but talk to me,
Mm-hmm.
and also not offer advice all the time. Or like, because I find like the culture we're in is so much about you need these specific tools. Here's more tools. Here's tools. And I just don't want tools right now.
Right. People want to fix you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she doesn't do that. And I had to kind of shop around for her for a little bit. But once I found her, I was like, okay, you're my girl. Because our first session, she was just like, what do you need to do for yourself today? And I was like, cry. And she was like, okay,
Yeah.
let's do that. And there was nothing like, after this, I would like you to do this and do this. So just like giving people tools so much in this time is not very helpful because we don't even have the mental clarity to use the tools. Like I had one counselor be like, you should try breathing exercises. And I'm like, when I'm having a panic attack, I will not remember the breathing stuff. It's not happening.
Mm.
Sorry. She's like, I'll send you a whole PDF. I was like, I'm not reading it. So that's what I mean. Like they're like, there's just stuff there's so much out there, but it's also, there's just an information overload and everything is about what tools we can use. And it's really funny as a human being that we're starting to find tools to fix us. We're not a gadget, right? We're people. And because we're people, we have actual real life things that happen to us. So sometimes you can't fix something. It's just impossible. It's just going to be part of us. And I like how I've been following a lot of grief people on Instagram. And one lady was talking about when her mom died, she actually decided to let that be a part of who she was from that day onwards. So like anytime she is having conversations with people, she is leaning into the grief more than trying to get away from it, which I think is so important. That's what I'm trying to do on a daily basis, is leaning into it.
That's interesting. So yeah, I guess, because I would think that you're trying to get away from the grief.
That's what society wants us to do. So you can like quickly be normal again, right? Like, okay, Ruvi. Like I know someone actually messaged me and she was like, it was not a nice message, obviously. She was like, oh my gosh, we get it. Your mom died. Jesus.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah. It was like a DM. We get it. Your mom died, but could you like not be so depressing? And I was like, no, I'm leaning into it. This is a part of who I am. And because of how it happened, it is something I need to work through. And working through means I just talk about it. So sorry if you don't like it. Feel free to unfollow. If this is not the Ruvi you came for, unfollow. People change. How many social media outside of grief, like how many content creators change their style all the time? So I was like, sorry, that's not who you came for. But she's not going to change right now because I'm in a different era.
Well, you might have lost her, but you've probably gained many, many, many more that need to hear what you're saying and that are going through things and haven't found the person that's resonated with them for how they're great. So whatever, you can get rid of her. You probably found many, many more because it's part of life.
The truth is you have to feel it. You have to feel it because if you don't, it's going to show up in other places and for a lot longer.
Exactly.
If you don't, like I remember sitting on the couch with my husband and just sobbing like uncontrollably for probably 10, 15 minutes at a time. And he would just be there, and I would it was just so overtakes your entire being, but you have to kind of just let it happen. And then you can, like you in the grocery store, like it has to go through you. You have to feel it. And then you can kind of move on and continue. And eventually those episodes get fewer and fewer. They don't go away, but I think if you allow yourself to feel that, then you can start to find who you are again.
Yeah. It's funny that you said that. My husband actually said, because I'm reading the book, It's Okay Not to Be Okay. Yeah. So my husband says, every time you read that book, you're sad. And I'm like, I want to be sad. I don't know why you don't want me to be sad. I need to be sad. Something bad happened. Because every time I open it, I'm taking notes and I'm sobbing. And he's like, every time you open that book, you are sad. And I was like, I had to like coach him. I was like, honestly, babe, I love you, but I need to be sad. You can't fix me right now. You can't think being funny and joking with me and like he's been really sweet, like taking me on date nights and stuff. I'm like, you're trying to bring me back, but I'm not coming back. Like, this is who I am right now.
Yeah.
And I want to be sad. So let me cry when I want to cry. And he's been very receptive to that. I kind of just had to like be sharp with him. And I was like, I want to be sad. So don't try to stop me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It was my dad's birthday last week. And I sat in the driveway and I played a couple songs that are really important to me about him. And I just cried for, a good 15, 20 minutes. And I had to. Like, I felt like that was just something I had to do. I feel closer to him when I'm taking time to think about him in that way. And yeah, it makes me very sad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's part of grieving. It's part of keeping their memory alive. And that is really, really important to me.
Yeah.
How do you think this experience, this big life change, affects everything? And I guess we touched on it a little bit, but what, as we're closing out the episode, what advice would you have for other people about how this can change you and how they can be there to help others?
Mm-hmm. I would say it definitely changes your entire being. And it's okay. I think that's what I've struggled with. Like I said, even for work, I'm like trying to say, it's okay, you need to do your job. But I've had to and this is through the help of therapy as well, look at it and be like, it was a horrible thing that happened. And the fact that I am dealing with it in a healthy way, I'm still exercising. I'm not like drinking myself to stupor or anything like that. So I am like, at least you're doing it in a healthy way. And so it's important to just work through it the best way you know how. And I think for anyone who ever has to go through this, my advice would just be like I said, lean into the grief, be sad, allow yourself to be sad, give yourself the space to be sad. Let your friends see it. Hiding it is so unhelpful. Like, I remember when I came back from Zimbabwe, my best friend, she came to my house and I felt the need to be strong for her. But then I was like, nah, fuck this. And I just started crying. I was like, girl, I've been through it. And it's just, it's like your friends don't know how to help you if they don't know what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
So sharing with people is really important. And those that matter get it. Those that don't matter don't get it. And even some friendships will change. And it's terrifying.
It is.
But it will happen because there's just some people who won't understand what you're going through and will look at you differently and almost like disconnect from you. Like, because you're a different person. So the friendship will change. I know I've not lost, but I've kind of, there's a bit of a distance between some of me and my other girlfriends where it's just like, I'm not the same person. I used to be the girl who was like, yay, wine night, yay, let's have it. And now I'm just like, no, thanks, I'm chilling tonight. Yeah. And because they don't know how to communicate with me, the friendship has changed. But those that matter and those who will matter will stick around. Those who want to learn will be there for you. And it's just like really important to work through every single step, every single phase, and not shut it out. Like that day in Superstore, I was trying to shut it out. It was coming on full-blown panic attack. I was shaking. I was pushing the cart. I kept staring at the bread and I thought I was moving, but I wasn't moving. And I just was like this was me the whole time. And I was like, fuck it. And I cried. And I sat down and I just cried. And I was like, I needed to do that. Otherwise, either A, I was going to run out of Superstore because something was going to have to give. So I was like, I need to sit down and let it out. And it's really important for us as people to just let the grief in. Let it in. And what it does to you is, with the imposter syndrome specifically, is it starts helping you figure out who you are now. I know there's still parts of Ruvi in there that are still funny.
Of course.
But I am a more evolved version of myself where I even said, this is like a new saying of mine, is don't judge a person by the chapter of their life that you've walked in on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't know what they're going through. So yes, you've walked in on a very messy chapter and it doesn't look nice and it's not pretty. And as humans, we kind of want to shut down when we walk into something like that, especially with other human interaction. But don't judge them. just be there, be present. And I'm trying to be that in every aspect of every relationship I have now, whether it's even an acquaintance. Like I used to, and this is really crazy, but I used to always like see people who are like begging or whatever and be like, oh, here we go. And now I'm like, don't judge them by the chapter you've walked in on. It's really important.
Mm.
And I'm like pulling down the window, hey, I hope you have a better day today. Sun's out. I'm having conversations. I might not have money to give them. I might not have food to give them, but I'm acknowledging their human existence because we just don't know what people are going through on a day to day. And it's so tough.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that's what's been like that's the new part of me that I am so happy with after my mom went. Her name was Peace, and my mom loved peace and she cared about being peaceful. So that part of her has come onto me, and it's just like, I'm trying to be kinder, trying to be more empathetic. And it's not always easy. Like there are assholes out there. I'm not going to lie. But even with the assholes, I'm just like, oh, don't judge them by the chapter.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
That's such good advice.
It's really just, it's been so life-changing for me the last couple of months. Even when I was home and I said, when people kept asking me about what happened with my mom, I had to keep telling myself, don't judge them, don't judge them, don't judge them. And it helped me not be so angry because I was starting to wallow in the anger and like let it consume you. Like I actually just was like, I deserve to be pissed. But it's like, what is that going to do for me?
You know, you're only 3 months out. This is still so very raw
Yeah.
for you, you know, really and truly raw. Alex, you're 4 years out. It's still raw at times. What advice do you have for people?
Feel your feels and make sure your support system is supportive. I lost quite a few friendships when my dad died, and it changed a lot of other ones. I'm pretty guarded now with who I allow around me or who I get close to. And that's a change I don't really love, but it's a reality of who I am now. But I think just giving yourself spaces to be, and not judging your own self when you react to something a little bit differently than you expected, or if something overcomes you. I also find yoga really helpful for me. Oh, and if you believe in it, look for signs.
Look for signs.
The signs are so important to me. And it's funny because my dad said he wouldn't send signs because he was kind of an asshole like that. But I don't believe it. I still see the signs, and whether they're real or not, I don't really care because they give me comfort. And I think look for the things that give you comfort because it is really helpful.
Yeah. Have you had signs from mom?
You know what? That's like, now that Alex said it, it's really funny. Like my mom, she really, really just loved color. Like her closet was colorful. And the other day I was thrifting and I saw this bright peach shirt. And I was like, she wants me to buy that. Even though I wouldn't wear it, I'm going to buy it. And that was just like a really nice moment. Just me, you know, in a Frenchies, staring at a peach shirt and being like, thanks, Mom. I will buy the shirt.
And I hope for more and more of those peaceful moments for you and your mama named Peace as
Thank
you
you
move forward.
so much for sharing with us this early. I know that I would not have been able to do this 3 months in, so I really appreciate it. Appreciate your vulnerability and being so brave to come on a public forum and talk about these things because it's so important. And I've really appreciated how open you are about your journey.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for being here, girl.
Thanks, ladies.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Imposter Sisters. Please remember, we're not doctors or mental health experts. If you're looking for mental health guidance, please see our show notes for local resources. Until next time, keep your head high and we will see you next Tuesday.